Big news tonight, the indictment of former President Trump, the first ex-president ever charged with a crime. Let's bring in law professor Rory Little of UC Hastings in San Francisco. The grand jury, they voted to indict, but we aren't seeing the charges yet. Why is that? And walk us through what happens now.
Well, so it's all under New York state procedure. So this is a state court indictment, not a federal court indictment. The grand jury proceedings are under seal until they're publicly filed. While there has been an indictment voted, apparently it hasn't been filed because it was right before the clerk's office closed at 5 o'clock East Coast time. So presumably we'll see it first thing in the morning, and I assume it'll be unsealed pretty quickly. It's hard to know exactly what happens next. Normally, a defendant in a white-collar case is going to be given the opportunity to voluntarily appear and go through the normal processing that everyone has to go through, which is a mugshot photo and fingerprints and some other things. And Donald Trump apparently has, people claim now that he will self-report on Tuesday. But if he doesn't, then the governor of New York is going to have to ask for extradition from the governor of Florida, and we could be off to a big, a long and serious legal proceeding.
Right. And you know, we've heard that he would possibly self-report on Tuesday. We're reading reports, negotiations are underway for him to surrender. But sort of play out for us what that would look like. Will we expect to see the former president in handcuffs?
I would not expect that you'll see him in handcuffs. That would be a publicity stunt that I don't think they're ready to deal with in New York. And a normal white-collar defendant who self-reports is going to show up and walk into the building with lawyers, maybe have some law enforcement surround the limousine or whatever, and walk into court. Not the court, I'm sorry, into the law enforcement office where they will go through normal processing. There are forms to fill out. There are biographical information to gather. You get a picture taken, usually a mugshot. But I don't think you'll see what we call a perp walk, where we sort of, for the cameras, walk the defendant in handcuffs. I just don't think that's going to happen. And Trump, I think he actually would like to have the publicity that might come from that sort of proceeding. Unlike most people, people say he'll put on a T-shirt, a picture of himself, with the mugshot and a handcuff, and say, vote for me, I'm being persecuted. You're going to see that kind of publicity, I think, coming out of the Trump people.
All right, we want to put up a graphic because this is just one of the investigations he's facing. He also faces an investigation in Georgia over claims he meddled in the election, and of course also having classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, and an investigation tied to the January 6th riot. Now, some are saying this case in Manhattan is the weakest. So rank the severity of these investigations and which could do him the most harm.
Well, I think it's a little premature to say who's got the weak case and who's got the strong case. So far, there's only one case, and it's this one in New York. And I assume in New York they wouldn't file a case unless they thought they could prove it. So we'll have to see exactly what they say. That could be charged as a misdemeanor, could be charged as a felony. I would imagine this publicity would not be coming unless it were charged as a felony. The other investigations are very serious investigations. The classified documents, it's not just that he had classified documents, which it turns out a lot of people have. The allegation is that he intentionally obstructed the investigation by saying, I don't have any more documents, even after he did. So it's a state of mind thing. Did he obstruct justice? Stimulating the attack on the Capitol on January 6th is a serious charge. They're just going to have a hard time connecting Trump to being the reason, the instigator. Some people say, oh, of course he was, and other people say, look, all he did was make a speech. The Georgia case is a very serious case under Georgia law, interfering with the Secretary of State's efforts to, properly report the election outcome. So we'll see whether further indictments come or not, and then we'll have to see how they play out before we can say, well, one was sort of weaker or stronger than the other.
Rory Little, a law professor at UC Hastings. Thank you so much for all of your insight into that tonight. A lot more to unravel in this one.
Thank you.